This is a story that has captivated the nation. The brazen killing of a Fortune 500 company CEO in the middle of Midtown Manhattan. And more than 48 hours since those deadly shots were fired, New York City police are leaving no stone unturned.
Yeah, and this is perhaps the best piece of evidence detectives have so far. The suspected killer flashing a smile while checking into a hostel on the Upper West Side, where he stayed for at least 5 days before the killing. And it was only captured because the woman behind the counter there did ask to see his face, something that they do with everyone who walks into the hostel.
This case and the investigation has been evolving really rapidly, right? Eyewitness News reporter Reagan Medji now outside that hostel. The police have been searching since yesterday. Reagan, what's the latest?
Yeah, so let's start at the beginning. So police know that the suspected shooter arrived in this city on November 24th, and they do believe that he left after the shooting on December 4th. So in that 10-day period, they're really focusing in on collecting as much evidence as they can, specifically the surveillance video, to pinpoint where this suspect was throughout the course of that time. So they found that he was in the cabs, he was in the subway, and also at a McDonald's. But it is his time here at the hostel and what police got here that could potentially give them their biggest lead yet. This image is the best police have to help them identify who shot UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson. It's from surveillance video from a hostel the shooter checked into on the Upper West Side. Sources say the woman at the check-in desk asked to see his smile, so the shooter obliged, allowing a surveillance camera to capture his face without a mask. Police sources tell ABC News the suspect checked in twice, first on November 24th, then again on November 30th, using a fake name and a New Jersey ID. The mayor appearing this morning on air, discussing the investigation so far.
Our team is looking at all the leads that we see, and I cannot say enough about the New York City Police Department and the surrounding law enforcement entities. This was a fully masked person that we had to unmask and use good old-fashioned police work. We are on the right road to apprehend him and bring him to justice.
Sources say the gunman arrived at the Port Authority bus terminal November 24th at 9 o'clock at night on a Greyhound bus that originated in Atlanta. It's unknown where the suspect boarded. Greyhound saying in a statement, quote, "We are fully cooperating with authorities on this active investigation." Police are also investigating whether the shooter left the city on a bus after the killing. The day of the shooting, early Wednesday morning, the suspect was seen with a backpack exiting the subway near the Hilton Hotel in Midtown. He stopped at a Starbucks to buy water and a snack. Police say he waited for Thompson, approached him from behind, and fired several shots, striking the CEO in the back and leg, killing him. The shooter then fled on a bicycle, seen in this video, about 15 minutes after the shooting, 30 blocks north, without that backpack. Police sources say shell casings found at the scene had the words deny, defend, and depose, echoing a 2010 book, Delay, Deny, Defend, Why Insurance Companies Don't Pay Claims and What You Can Do About It. So the interaction between the suspected shooter and the woman checking him in at this hostel behind me on the Upper West Side happened because the woman, as required, needs to make sure that the image and the photo ID used are the same images. Also, police are finding out that the suspect paid for cash everywhere he went and he kept his mask on, leading the police to believe that he came here to the city to commit murder. We're live on the Upper West Side. Reagan Medji, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Reagan, thank you very much. Joining us now with more is retired NYPD Chief of Detectives and ABC News contributor Robert Boyce. I still want to call you Chief Boyce. Thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning, everybody.
Look, there is just an incredible amount of information, evidence. We have, this video diary, essentially, of where this guy went in the city. We've got pictures of his face. We know where he slept. We know when he came in. We know how he arrived. Now people are talking about the fact that maybe he has left the city in the same way. How much more difficult does that make the job of actually being able to track him down for investigators?
Well, the best thing we have, and Pedro said it before, is that image, that picture of him. And that's going to be blasted all over the country, and the phone calls are going to be coming in. Someone knows this guy from somewhere. So that's the best clue they have right now. But there's plenty of other investigative evidence, Sandra. Take a look at this phone, this burner phone. Give it to the FBI. They'll tell you where it was purchased, and you go visit that store and see if there's any value in that. So he may tell you where he lives as well. Look at the bicycle, the rentals, things of that nature. The Upper West Side. That hostels on Amsterdam Avenue. A block over is Broadway. There's plenty of restaurants there. Maybe you can get some video from there too, where he also drops his mask. That gun is really distinctive. Plug in the ATF and see if you can find out who actually owns those across the country, and knock on those doors as well. There's a lot of things here. I mean, he was methodical and disciplined. I will give this individual that. But everybody makes mistakes, and you got to find those mistakes. Who was he calling when we saw him on the phone? All those things matter at this time. I would tell you there's quite a task force on this from the NYPD, and there should be, because it's an affront to this city that this happened in the middle of the tourist season in New York. So there's a lot here. So expect a lot more. You're going to hear updates all the time on these avenues of investigation.
Yeah, and I'm sure that this scope, as you mentioned, of this investigation is going to go well beyond the 5 boroughs. Here again, originated in Atlanta, so I'm sure they're going to be looking there. I'm curious to know, this crime didn't happen in 1970, right? Technology now, DNA analysis, cameras everywhere you go. Just from what you've seen and how much they gathered, how close do you think they are to possibly identifying a person, or do they typically try to withhold that as much as possible before releasing it to the public?
It's a great point, Pedro. You really want to, if you have my deed, you hold back until you can pick him up, because you don't want to alert him and put him on a run. So at some point, they're going to actually know who he is, and they might already as we speak. But you don't want to put it out there, because you want the ability to go grab him and whatever statements and whatever evidence he has at that point. That gun is really telling. I will tell you, he's made mistakes, quite a few. So now you have to go identify him. He's probably out of the city.
So, again, you said he's probably out of the city at this point. That's sort of where you believe the investigation is leaning at this moment in time?
Sure. So listen, Sandra, there's a lot of buses out of the city. There's a Bullet bus on the west side. There's the 42nd Street. There's the Chinatown buses. There's a lot of ways you can get out. You can flip a cab to New Jersey for that matter. We're all assuming he's from this country. We don't know that. Unless he has an accent of some kind, we have to see that as well. So there's a big scope here. And the more people you put on your task force, the more organized it is, the better. The mayor came up and said something interesting today. He says old-fashioned police work. Well, there's some new-fashioned police work going on here. There's a lot of technology that's going to be employed in finding this individual.
And it's going to take it all to track him down. We really appreciate your time this morning and your perspective, Robert Boyce. Thanks so much for joining us. And here's another look at the clearest photos that police have released so far of the suspected killer. Stay with Eyewitness News and ABC7 NY as we follow the latest developments of this case.